Hi, this is Beth Combs with Canyon Community Yoga. We had some technical issues with our Wednesday night class on our normal platform, so I decided to just record this video, and it's probably only going to be a 20 to 30 minute class tonight just because I'm using my cell phone to record and I'm not sure how much memory is available on it. So I apologize to those of you that were hoping for a 60-minute class. But like I said, we've been having some issues with our platform tonight. I'm not sure what's going on, but I wanted to share a practice with you and hope that it helps to kind of move some energy through your body. So the last few weeks we've done a lot more restorative classes. Tonight is going to build a little bit of heat, but we're definitely going to take some time to kind of tune into our bodies, see how we're feeling, process those emotions, and hopefully feel better by the end of class, even if it's just a little bit. And I just think it's great if you are taking the time for yourself. It's really important to care for ourselves right now. It helps us to show up in the world with all the craziness that's going on right now. And I think it helps us be more empathetic, more compassionate to ourselves and also to those around us. So let's get started. Tonight, I'm going to try to do a practice that doesn't involve a lot of props in case you don't have a lot of things available at home. So we just want to connect in with our breath first here. And you can either sit in simple cross-legged pose. Now I would recommend, you might notice my knees are up above my hips. So usually I sit up on a pillow or a blanket of some kind. But if you don't have that, another option for you, you could actually just sit up on your knees instead. So that's kind of how I'm feeling tonight, so that's actually how I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you have a block, you could place it in between your ankles and sit on that. Sometimes this pose can be tense on the knees a little bit. So again, just tune into your body, see what it feels like it needs tonight. Go ahead and place your hands, your palms in your lap, maybe with the palms facing up. And just begin to breathe here. So you really want to ground through your sits bones into your mat or your feet, and then lengthen up your spine and out the crown of your head. We're going to take 3 breaths where we inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. So let's begin. So traditional yoga breathing involves breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, but exhaling out of the mouth actually helps our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest system. So if you're feeling particularly anxious and stressful, you might want to actually try exhaling through the mouth throughout the practice or different times during the practice, and just see if that helps to kind of calm the monkey mind a little bit and help you settle in a little bit more. We'll take 2 more breaths here, whatever your choice is, exhaling through the mouth or through the nose. And then we'll go ahead and invite a little bit of movement into the practice. So we're going to start in hands and knees or tabletop position with our knees beneath our hips and our wrists underneath our shoulders. This helps to make sure we don't injure the hips or the wrists. So you really want to push up from the mat, push away from the mat, almost like you're in a push-up position. And we're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow here. So I want your feet to be, tops of your feet need to be flat on the mat. Go ahead and press those into the mat. You're going to inhale, you're going to lift your forehead up and your tailbone up. And then your exhale, and you'll pull the belly button in towards the spine and round the back. So inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale up. Exhale back. And then take 2 more, following your breath and at your own pace. And then we'll all meet back in tabletop position. And then we're going to wake up our abdominals. So we're going to place our right fingertips out in front of us and our left toes back behind us on the mat. We'll take an inhale here. And then exhale, bring the right arm up alongside the right ear. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. If you'd like, you can lift the left leg or the left foot off the mat so it's in line with that left hip. We don't want to be way up in the air. We want to stay nice and straight here. So pressing through the left heel, reaching through the right fingertips. Remember to breathe. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. And then we'll exhale, lower everything down. So we're going to go ahead and switch sides here. Go ahead and take a breath first. And then we're going to place the left fingertips out in front of us and the right toes back behind us. And we're going to inhale and we're going to lift that left arm up alongside the left ear. Again, pull the belly button towards the spine. You want to reach your left fingertips out in front of you while pulling the left shoulder blade down the back. And if you'd like, you can lift that right leg up off the mat now. Remember to breathe here. Then we'll exhale, lower everything back down. And we're going to do each side one more time, just to get the abdominal muscles really fired up and engaged. So we'll reach the right fingertips out, left toes back behind us. We'll take an inhale. And then exhale, lift the right arm up alongside the right ear. Again, reach the fingertips, pull the shoulder blade down the back. If you'd like, you can lift the left leg up off the mat, or you can leave it down. So if you're feeling a little wobbly, it's okay to stay in the initial position. And then we'll exhale, we'll lower down, and then switch sides one more time. So left fingertips out in front, right toes back behind us. Take an inhale, and then on your exhale, go ahead and lift the left arm up. If you'd like, you can lift the right leg up. Remember to breathe. And then exhale and lower everything down to the mat. And then we're going to do some hip circles here. So the hips are in the area known as the sacral chakra, and that is where the element associated with it is water, and it's where our passion comes from, our zest for life, and those things that are truly just juicy and joyful. And it's also kind of where we tend to store a lot of emotions. So I know right now with all the anxiety going on in the world, I've really had a lot of tightness in my hips and my low back lately. And so I've been trying to make sure with my regular practice on my own that I am nourishing that area of my body, and I'm also stretching it, and also recognizing when it's a little tight and it needs a little bit more nourishment. So not doing super challenging poses necessarily, but helping to kind of move fluidly and open the hips up a little bit more. So for hip circles, there's 2 options. You can make an oval with your hips where you kind of drop back towards your feet and then come forward towards your hands. The other option is the hula hoop option, where you kind of bring your tailbone up towards the ceiling and then round, almost like you're using a hula hoop at a music festival. So we'll do 5 in one direction, and then we'll switch directions. And then we'll come back to center. And then we'll go ahead and bring ourselves up to the top of the mat. So we're going to actually do that with a little bit of a flow. So we're going to step the hands, one hand's distance in front of us. We're going to flip the toes so the bottoms of the toes are on the mat, and then we're going to lift ourselves up and back into downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal your feet here. You want the weight even between your hands and your feet. Most of the weight in your hands you want between your index finger and your thumb. You want to squeeze the upper arms in towards the ears. And you want to press the heels of the feet towards the mat. So we'll inhale, we'll step the feet up in between the hands. We'll lift the torso halfway up. We'll exhale and fold forward, and we'll do a little ragdoll here. So we'll clasp the elbows, let the head and the neck lengthen towards the mat. Shake your head no, nod your head yes. And then switch the way you've got your elbows gripped. And then we'll bend our knees. And again, if the backs of your legs are tight, you can bend your knees at pretty much any time throughout the practice. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms up and overhead, and then lower the hands in prayer to heart center. And now we're going to do some sun salutation A's. So this is really what I would consider to be a cornerstone of a vinyasa practice. And I like to do 5 of them in each of my classes that I teach. I just think it's a great way to really warm up the body in a lot of different joint areas and muscles. And it just makes a lot of the other poses, when your body's feeling a little more fluid, I think it allows you to stretch a little bit more, but also to engage the muscles just a little bit more, which helps protect our joints. So we're going to start in Tadasana, or mountain pose, with our feet. They can be hip width apart, or you can have the big toes touch. You want to make sure the weight is even between all 4 corners of the feet. We're going to lift the quads up away from the kneecaps. We're going to pull our tailbone down, lengthen the tailbone down towards the heels, and that's going to engage our abdominals a little bit more. We're going to slide the shoulder blades down the back, and we'll start with our hands by our side. And just like earlier, we want our head so that it feels like a string is kind of pulling us up towards the ceiling. So we'll take a couple breaths here. And then we'll inhale and we'll sweep the arms up overhead. So we'll keep the hands parallel with our shoulders. Again, we want to make sure we're pulling the frontal hip bones and the front ribs in towards each other. So keeping those abdominals engaged. And the legs should feel just as active as they were when our hands were down by the sides. Then we're going to exhale and fold forward. So we want to fold from the hips, fold forward, allow our head to lengthen towards the mat. Again, feel free to bend your knees. You can even let your torso rest on your knees, or on your thighs, sorry. And then we'll inhale and we'll bring the torso halfway up. So again, legs are in the same active position. You want to place your hands on the sides of your calves, not in the front of your shins, because that'll make you hyperextend your knees if you're prone to that. And we really don't want a lot of pressure in the hands. We actually want to be holding ourselves up with our abdominals. And then we'll exhale and fold forward once again, and then we're going to place the hands down on the mat, and we're going to come back into tabletop position. and then lower the torso all the way down. Then we're gonna pull the tailbone towards the heels again. We want all 10 toes to be on the mat. And then we're gonna inhale and lift just our torso up into cobra. And then we're gonna exhale back to downward facing dog. So you can push yourself back up to tabletop and then flip the toes and push yourself all the way back to down dog. Again, feel free to pedal the feet or walk the dog here. And then we'll inhale and step the feet up back to the top of the mat. Lift the torso halfway up. Then exhale and fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. And you can exhale the hands to heart center or down by your sides. So we're going to do that 4 more times to really get the body moving and warmed up. So we'll inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, lower down to tabletop, and then all the way to the mat. Inhale and lift the torso up to cobra, and then exhale, come up to tabletop, and then to downward facing dog. So one thing in down dog, our wrists, we actually want to be parallel with the top of the mat. So you really want to make sure, you want to check in with that when we're in tabletop position. Again, feel free to pedal the feet here. You can also bend the knees here if your hamstrings are tight. And then we'll inhale and step the feet up. Lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale the hands to heart center. Third time around, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower to tabletop and all the way to the mat. Pull the tailbone towards the heels and lift the torso up into cobra. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. And then inhale, step the feet up to the top of the mat. Lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale the hands to heart center. So that's our third one. We've got 2 more here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower down to tabletop and then all the way to the mat. Make sure those 10 toes are on the mat. Inhale up to cobra. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Then we'll inhale and step to the top of the mat in between the hands. Lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale the hands to heart center. And we'll do that 1 more time. Great job so far. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower down to tabletop and then all the way to the mat. Bring the tailbone towards the heels. Inhale up to cobra. Exhale to tabletop and then downward facing dog. We'll inhale, step up to the top of the mat. Lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale, the hands to heart center. So we'll take a few breaths here in Tadasana or mountain pose. Feel our heels rooting into the earth, supporting us. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to lower back down to tabletop position. I also forgot to mention, if at any time you are tired from the vinyasa, the sun salutation A's, you can always rest in child's pose instead of downward facing dog. And you can always rest in child's pose if you need to skip a vinyasa. So there are options. If you're just starting out, listen to your body. Don't let your ego take over. Your body will thank you later if you can do that. It's a practice I am constantly having to work with myself, so I understand. But I've also realized over the years that my body is much wiser than I give it credit for sometimes. So just keep that in mind as you're doing your practice today. We're gonna go ahead and land in tabletop again. And then we're gonna pick up our left knee and we're gonna bring our left foot as close to in between our hands as we can get it. We mostly just want to make sure our knee is tracking above our left ankle. And then if you're feeling kind of wobbly, feel free to stay here. If you have yoga blocks or books, you can place your hands on those if you need to. Make sure you're firming that right shin into the mat. And if you'd like, you can bring your hands up to that bent knee. And just breathe here. So in this position, you might need to move your foot forward to keep your ankle and your knee in line with each other. If you feel pretty stable here, so again, keep that shin pushing down, pull the belly button in towards the spine, maybe bring your arms up alongside your ears. And then we're going to place our left hand on our left hip, and then we're going to bend over to the left any amount. Remember to keep breathing. Then we'll exhale, we'll place the hands back down on either side of the foot. And then we'll shift our weight back, but we're going to keep our foot in place where it is. And we're just going to lift the left toes up off the mat. So you can see I've got my left leg bent here because my hamstring and my back is a little tight. You can straighten that out if you'd like. This is a nice hamstring stretch. Then we'll exhale, place that foot back down. And then we're going to do just a little bit of a twist here. So you want to bring the right hand kind of underneath your nose here. We're going to place the left hand on our left hip and rotate the torso towards the left, towards our left leg. Maybe this is plenty of rotation for you, and that's totally fine. You can also feel free to bring the left arm so the fingers are reaching towards the ceiling. You can also feel free to straighten the right leg up off the mat. So we'll exhale and we'll come back, place the hands on either side of the foot. Then you can step the left foot back And we're going to take child's pose here. So you can keep your legs together and lower the torso down. Or you can keep the big toes touching and widen the knees and lower the torso down. The goal is to get your tailbone reaching toward your feet. We're going to stretch our arms out in front of us and keep the elbows lifted up off the mat and place the forehead on the mat. Then we'll inhale, we'll come back up to tabletop position. And then we're going to switch sides here. So right foot in between the hands. You can stay right here if you'd like. Again, you can use blocks or books if you have them. Really press down the left shin into the mat. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. If you feel pretty stable and you want a little bit more of a stretch in your hip flexors, you can bring your hands up to that right knee. So the hip flexors are in the front of the hips here. And again, we want to check in and make sure our ankle is tracking beneath the knee here. You can bring the arms up alongside the ears if you feel pretty stable. And then place the right hand on the right hip and bend over to the right. And this stretch in particular can be really helpful if you've got any menstrual cramps going on. Just helps to stretch out the psoas, which is a muscle that's pretty deep inside the abdomen, but actually loops under the torso even to your low back. Then we'll exhale, lower down, and then we'll shift the torso back so that we're kind of over that left knee. And then we're gonna keep going even further back. We're gonna reach our right toes towards the ceiling. Again, feel free to bend this knee here if your hamstring is tight at all. Make sure you're not sinking into your wrist. Really push up away from the mat here. And then you're going to place the right foot down. And then we're going to do our twist here. So place that left hand underneath the nose. Right hand goes on the hip. Turn the torso to the right, any amount. And twists are really great for helping our digestive organs, removing toxins from the body. So if you feel like you've had a little more junk food since you've been teleworking, or drinking too much wine, or whatever it might be right now, this will really help your body process those things a little bit better. So you have a couple options here. You can, of course, just stay here. You can bring the right fingertips so they're reaching towards the ceiling. Maybe you lift the left knee up off the mat. Then wherever you are, just come back to center here. We're going to come back into tabletop. And then we're going to go ahead and step the feet up in between the hands. And we're just going to do a couple standing poses here to end our practice. So go ahead and sweep the arms up. Bring the hands to heart center. And then we're going to face the right. And we want the feet to be 3 to 4 feet apart. We're going to pick up our right heel, move it away from us just a tiny bit, and then pick up the left toes and rotate them out to the left. We want our hips tracking with the upper right corner of the mat. And then we're going to rotate just the torso. So lock your hips in place, rotate the torso back to the right. And then we're going to bend the left knee so it's right above that left ankle. We're going to make sure the outer edge of the right foot is still flat on the mat. And we're going to bring the arms up to a T. So go ahead and stretch your legs out a little further if you need that in order to get the right alignment here. You want to gaze down that second finger and widen across the collarbone. You want your weight even between both feet, so you don't want to be leaning forward or leaning too far back. Then we're going to flip the left palm. We're going to place the right hand on the right thigh or the calf, but don't put your hand right on your knee because that'll kind of yank it out of position. And then we're going to flip our torso back towards the right or behind us for reverse warrior. And then we'll exhale, come back up, straighten that left knee. You can step the feet together, shake everything out. And then we're going to step the feet back out 3 to 4 feet apart. Pick the left heel up and move it away. Rotate the right toes out to the right. We're going to bend that right knee. So again, right knee over right ankle. The outer edge of the left foot is flat on the mat. Weight is even between both feet. Go ahead and inhale. Lift the arms up to a T. Gaze down that second finger or the middle finger. And press up through the heels to really give a lot of strength to your legs. And then we're going to rotate, flip the right hand or the palm so it's facing the ceiling. Lightly rest your left hand on the left thigh and then reach back any amount. It could be straight up. It doesn't have to be all the way back here. Whatever your body needs this evening. Then we'll inhale, we'll come back up to center. Straighten that right leg. Step the feet together. Go ahead and shake it out. And then we'll come down onto the mat for just a couple poses. We'll start with butterfly pose. So you want to bring the soles of your feet together. Sit up nice and tall, and then you can actually fold forward any amount. So your feet don't need to be way up close to you. They can be much further out. You can also place blocks or pillows underneath your bent knees, and that kind of helps take some of the tension out of your hips. So we want to sit up nice and tall first, and then fold forward any amount. Maybe place the hands out in front of you. Breathe into those tight places in your hips and the rest of your body. And then inhale and bring yourself back up to your seated position. And then we'll end our practice like we always do in Shavasana for just a couple minutes, since it was a shorter practice. So Shavasana or corpse pose, you're just going to lay flat on your mat like you're laying in bed. If your low back is tight, you can feel free to bend your knees here. You can have them lean into each other. Or you can actually place a bolster or some pillows underneath your knees, like you might experience in a massage. And then you want to also make sure your shoulder blades are going towards your spine. So I usually like to pick my upper back up and then rotate my shoulders back a little bit. Arms out to the side, palms facing up. Or you can do cactus arms, so whatever you're feeling your body needs tonight. Just settle in. Allow the mat and the earth to support you. We'll do just a quick body scan, so just stay lying down. Again, feel yourself melting into the earth, releasing any stress or tension that might still be holding on in your body or in your mind. Notice warmth and relaxation coming up from your toes, the bottoms of your feet, the tops of your feet, your ankles. Feel warmth and relaxation coming up your calves and your shins, through your knee joints. Warmth and relaxation coming up from the backs of your thighs and the fronts of your thighs, into your hips, into your sacral chakra, between below your belly button. Warmth and relaxation in your pelvic bowl. Feel warmth and relaxation coming up through your belly button and your lower abdomen, through your lungs, through your upper chest and your abdominals. Warmth and relaxation coming up from your fingertips, through your wrists, through your forearm, to your elbow, to your upper arms, to your shoulders. Coming up from the low back, the middle back, and the upper back. Warmth and relaxation from your collarbone, up your neck, up the back of your neck, to your jaw. To your cheekbones, to your nose. Feel warmth through your eye sockets, through your forehead, up the back of your head, and finally to the crown of your head. And take a moment here just to continue breathing. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll over to your right side. And then bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. can bring your hands together at heart center. The light, strength, and compassion in me honors the light, strength, and compassion in you. Thank you for joining me this evening for your practice. Namaste. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully this practice is supportive and helpful for you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.